Hey guys, we have Shakira from Dimensional Artists. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. You're going to find out why, actually, because I did not do well. But I feel like I got the first name right there. It was absolutely probably one of the best conversations I think we've had to date on the show. And honestly, I don't think that there's any more that I need to say other than you guys really need to just listen to this episode. So stick around.
Well, as you can see, we're still having tea.
Morning, everyone. Welcome back to Crafty episode 22. I had to look that up. I didn't remember.
Just now?
I looked it up right before this because
Nice.
shot episode 21 at TumblrCon just like a week ago. But we have another guest. We have Shakira. Is it Corbel or Corbel?
It's actually Corral.
All right, so I'm not going to even try that. I'm just saying.
Yes.
But I do.
Yeah, I'll never be able to say that one.
So, if
I know there's.
you want to introduce yourself, then I'm going to start over with your name, and then but you're a dimensional artist and Dark Arts Craftopedia, and yeah, I'll let you kind of take it from there and explain a little bit about who you are.
No problem. Well, I'm Shakira Corral, and I am a licensed clinical psychologist that I kind of transitioned into the arts. I'm licensed in Mexico, so I'm a U.S. citizen, but I did do my university in Mexico, and that's where I actually I did most of my professional work, and I did art therapy for patients that had mostly schizophrenia. So when we move into the States, obviously I wasn't able to get all of my license updated, and I kind of self-taught myself photography, and I became a photographer here. During the pandemic, though, you guys can probably hear me. I have really bad lung issues. And so when the pandemic hit, it was kind of like that really scary time, especially for people like me who were like super high risk. So I lost all of my contracts, and I was put on very high restriction. And also I was going through grief at the time. I lost my mother like a few months prior to it.
Oh,
And
sorry.
no, and it's weird. I'm kind of that kind of person that feels that things like happen at different times in your life, and it kind of like really, you either sit and mope, or you actually like kind of transform.
Yep.
And that kind of happened with me. When I lost my career, in a sense of not being able to do anything that had to do with psychology, I had to transform, and I had to like become somebody else and learn photography. And it kind of like really brought art back into my life. And then when the pandemic hit, there were a lot of factors going on, and I just found myself experimenting with resin, and that's how I started this whole journey that kind of went into sculpting and meeting like all of this amazing community.
And you are amazing at it. I have to, you might be one of our most interesting guests so far. I had no idea you had such a big backstory like that. The career changed not only once, but twice, because then even in photography, you said you had to kind of pivot with COVID. That's crazy. Those are three different careers.
It's weird. I think I'm older than most people kind of imagine that I am, because I'm also a veteran. I was in the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force.
Wow.
Right after 9/11.
Oh, so you've been doing it all.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
And I have, now that you say it out loud, I have no idea how old you are, but I mean, you look amazing. No matter
I'm
how old you are.
I'm 40, I'm actually 43.
No.
Like these are like from my time.
I was gonna say 33, 34. Well, you look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, that's why, there's like so much that has gone on. And yeah, like I've struggled with lung issues since I was born. And so when I was in the military, I was discharged because of my lung issues.
Mhm.
Because back then, there was a presidential decree that if you had used an inhaler, you couldn't serve because a lot of servicemen died in Desert Storm because of the lack of inhalers and all of our lung issues. And
Ah,
so I had to let that part of my life go, which was painful, but I learned. I learned, and I went back to college. I became a psychologist, and it was interesting. It was just different, and I feel that that's like a big piece of me is that I adapt. I can't.
you've done four complete changes.
I just keep going. Like it doesn't matter what happens. Like I just have to adapt.
I love that. I really love that. You got to in this world, or else you're gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
So with all the adapting that you've done, has all the adapting been out of necessity, or do you think that some of it, like, do you feel that where you're at now, if there's not something drastic that causes it, do you think that you may eventually evolve just naturally with how you've kind of been changing in the past into something different in the future? Because I mean, 43 is still very young, so there's a lot of time and a lot of
And clearly you learn fast because you're pivoting careers like
yeah. I just wonder if it wasn't intentional in the first place, but almost it's like collecting careers to an extent. It's putting tools in your tool belt.
It's weird. I feel I'm kind of that kind of person that doesn't. I don't believe that things happen randomly. I do really have this strong sense that things happen for a reason, and that my life has kind of like shifted a lot between two countries, and I don't know, like I don't know if this is going to be end game for me. Like I don't know if some other opportunity were to present itself, then I will learn that.
yeah, why not, right?
I'm that kind of person that depending on what it is, I'm a fast learner, and I can, if I really like it, if there's some sense of art, of color, that's something that for me has always been very interesting. Like for the military, I did languages.
Cool.
And then when I went into psychology, we had like all kinds of like, where you want to go. Do you want to do industrial? Do you want to do educational? And I went for clinical. I really liked having my patients and working with arts, like having them tell their story to me through art therapy. No problem. And then, and photography was just like, again, it was just like painting now on a screen.
Mhm.
And I really, really enjoy being behind cameras. So now that I have to be in front of camera, I think if you guys have seen my work, I used to not show my face because I'm like at a certain point I am kind of shy, and I didn't show my face. Like I would kind of show my hands, and I would show like a little bit of my art and how I was like attaching stuff and things like that. And then this year, Melanie was like, do you want to come on to Dimensional Artist and teach? And I was like, okay, well, that's like full face. Like,
You're like, hold on, wait a minute. That's
and I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm good. Let's do it. Let's do it. A test run.
Yes.
But I was like, I'm weird. Like I'm awkward. I'm it's like I have the sense of, you posted the other day something like that, and I couldn't resonate more to it, because you're weird and not everybody gets your humor, and it's weird because like I tell my DAs, we call them DAs because they're dimensional artists. I tell my DAs all the time, like, guys, I have the sense of humor of an 8-year-old. Like sometimes when I am putting like epoxy over a cup, I just start to like, and then I'm like, we're just gonna lather it on. And I start to laugh. And they're like, Shakira, I'm at work. And I'm like, mute me, just watch me.
Give them a little warning first.
Yeah. It's like exactly with like the donuts. The girls like were like, how do you do those donuts? And like, well, it's a process, and it's gonna be kind of like not suited for work. It's like, if you're okay with it, I can teach it. And but it's fun. They kind of get me. And I just decided that if I was going to be on camera, I was just going to be.
Yeah. Well, I think you do great. I'm not a DA. I should probably finish one of those cups first. I have started to do. I have a finishing problem. I have no problem starting. If you need projects started, I'm your girl. You just call me and I will start all your projects.
What happened to Spike Duck?
I don't even know where it is. I think it was like a doorstop last that I saw, honestly.
The rhinestones that I got for his beak, I hate it. So then that was it for me. I had to order the new rhinestones, which I did. And then I had to wait for them to come in. And that was 4 months ago now. 3 months ago, something like that. And it's like, as soon as I break that concentration, that project has now gone to the side and I will get to it. And I hate that. I need to finish Spike Dog.
You do. You have to finish it.
It's just his beak. That's it. That's all I have to do is his beak. And it's half the beak.
Friend, you have to finish it for the Great American Craft Expo.
That's it. It's got to get done before that.
In that time, we've literally released our own line of rhinestones. And she still has not even just like gone into our own stash of rhinestones.
He needs orange.
We have the capabilities of ordering orange. Like, we are the orderers of our inventory. So you're the reason we don't have orange. But we have got 4 purples. We started with 19 colors.
Well, we're covered on purple.
4 of them are purple. So she's the reason that we don't have orange. He gets a purple beak.
That would be really cool, actually.
He might have to have a purple beak. We're gonna see about it after craft tea. It's literally just his little beak that I have to finish and then figure out what I want to do with the cup. But I think we have all the sleeves at this point.
Yes.
No, not the spear.
The what?
The spear.
The spear.
The balls.
The ball.
Spear. I thought you said spear.
I did.
Yeah, she said spear. I was like, wait, are we going hunting? Because I missed it. But
how'd you say it?
Spear. Sphere, yeah.
Just the balls.
Like fear in front of it.
We'll work on that. I've been calling it a spear for a long time. And I know what a spear is.
Sarah at least started like Spike Duck and got to the point of not finishing it. But like me, I'm still just in the planning stages of all of my sleeves because
they're around his desk.
Even when we were just at TumblerCon, I was talking to Daniel for a while, and I finally got to meet him in person. I've met Melanie before. Was she there last year? I know we've met.
No,
Melanie.
I've met Melanie in person at the Two Moms convention.
So I never met Melanie before?
No.
I thought I did.
Maybe you just feel like you did because we're connected so hard.
Well, anyway, so I got to hang out at the booth. I'm talking to him. He's like, he's talking to me and reminding me of all the ideas that I told him that I had for the sleeves. And he's like, yeah, so like, did you start any of them? And I was like, not at all. Like, not even a little bit. They are all still right up in here. That's as far as they've gotten. I mean, I guess technically I did type them out to him. So
yeah,
I manifested the ideas, but that's about as far as we got. Yep.
So, that's pretty awesome.
So will this be your first time with Gase coming up teaching in person, I guess, right?
Yeah. This is like that doesn't have to do with like mental health. Yes.
So excited.
It kind of does have to do with mental health, I feel like, though. But
yeah, this is my first time teaching in person, and such an honor and such a surprise that you guys actually wanted me there. So.
Again, everything happens for a reason. And I mean, I long explained the story to you because I can't help myself sometimes, but like it really, it fit at the time. And I'm like, is there time? Let's call her now. Let's get her on here. We have to get her up there. Look at her stuff. Like,
That's what I said from the start, that I wanted someone that did the sculpting and three-dimensional art, right? But when we started looking for teachers in the first place, and
our classes at the time were so small, we were only doing an hour class. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then it just, I mean, dimensional sleeves wasn't even in existence at the point that we were planning this year in the beginning.
Started last fall.
Yeah.
And then they started.
Once they came out, then that, it streamlines the sculpting process so much. So it makes it a lot more feasible to do a sculpted cup in a 2 to 4 hour period, when that was just like not going to happen. You might sculpt your pieces in that time, but you're not making the cup,
But you can't finish it. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so easy. With DA, that's actually what we do. We use the sleeve and then we just sculpt on top of it. And it really makes it so much easier. Like this cup, I had been telling Melanie for the longest time, because a lot of people know me because of the donuts. Yeah. And I was like, I want to make a donut cup, like a donut box cup. But I was like, I kept thinking about it and like, how could I like sculpt it out? How could I make a box? And it was just hard. So when Melanie actually told me like, hey, we're going to be doing this, I was like, can you make a box for me? And I could like put donuts on it. And that was actually my first thing. Like the first thing that Melanie sent me was this rectangle. And then I knew exactly what I was going to do. And I worked on it. And that was my first tutorial in Dimensional Artist.
That was one of the first cups that I saw when I stumbled on Dimensional Artist or Dimensional Drinks, was your cup. It was yours, the Mean Girls one, and I don't think we had seen the Harry Potter one quite yet. No, we did. That's what I was looking for. Jason saw the Harry Potter one, the Mandrake.
Oh my God.
And he was trying to explain to me this cup that he saw, but he didn't tag me in it. He doesn't know who posted it. He can't remember what group he saw it in, but he needs to see it again. He was obsessed.
I think I saw that in the Sirens group, maybe.
It might have been. And I'm like, I was trying to find this cup for him, and I wasn't actively looking at the time. I went to the bar with my friend Lindsay for her birthday, and she's like, you got to see these guys. You got to see this company called Dimensional Drinks. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's the cup. And I was screaming in the bar. I'm like, that's the cup Jason's been. Oh. I was like, I'm screaming in the bar about this cup.
What's funny is that those two cups that you guys mentioned right now, Mean Girls, the burn book that I did, and the Mandrake that Melanie did, that's what we're teaching in July.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Those are the two designs, because in Dimensional Artist, we do two designs.
Okay.
We'll do it like an easy one, and then we have a more time-consuming one. And so this month, it's both me and Melanie, and we're doing those two designs there. And to be honest, that's what I was telling Melanie. I really enjoy working with them, because we're really different as artists. Mm-hmm. We have different styles, and yet Melanie is actually the person who brought me into sculpting.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I was, again, when I started this journey, I was going through grief, and I was like, I know Harry Potter, but I'm not like I haven't read all the books. I've seen all the movies, but I haven't read all the books. Same. And my husband is like super, super fan. He's read all the books and all of that.
Same.
And he asked me, he's like, I saw, just like it happened with you, like he came to me and he's like, I saw this amazing Slytherin cup with a snake. Can you make it for me? And I was like, no. I was like,
she said no. Call somebody else.
Like I was barely doing I don't know, I was barely learning my way through cricket. I was like, how the hell am I going to do that? And then
how long ago was this?
This was at the beginning of 2020.
Wow. And look at the cups you're making now.
Now you're
And-
teaching sculpting.
Oh, it's so weird. Like I tell Melanie all the time, the first time Melanie reached out to me and actually like I learned that snake and everything because Jose Miguel, my husband, found Melanie's tutorial and he's like, yeah, you can do it. Here's the supplies.
The tutorial,
Make
make it.
and he bought me air dry clay, which like sucked, but
The
I did the
worst.
best I could. I did the best I could. He still has his cup, and that's what like really brought me on to sculpting. And then I got to meet Melanie, which I like super fangirled over that she actually like invited me into her group, and now we're business partners. So it's like really awesome.
I love that. I fangirled over Melanie when I met her and Christine at Two Moms Festival, and literally I was so nervous. I basically dumped Melanie's cup out. I was like, "Oh, this cup's awesome! Look at it." She's like, "There's water in there." I'm like, "I'll just sit down now and stop touching all of your stuff." Like,
That's exactly how I am. I'm like so.
oh, this is great. I'm
Amazing.
just gonna sit down and not touch anything for a minute.
That happened the whole time at our booth at TumblerCon because everyone working, all of us and the employees, and you got gifts of tumblers from some
Yeah.
people, but they're like at the checkout, and we tried to keep them behind stuff. But as people are checking out, they just see it because they think it's like a display, and they're like, "Oh wow!" And they feel the weight of a drink in there, and they're like, "This is someone's," and they just like put it down slowly.
You're like, oh god.
That happened like all weekend.
Yes.
Like you're fine.
It's so funny. It's so weird. I remember when I was starting, I used to see you guys and the colors, and I'm moving, or else I would show you. It's in a box. But I made one of my first drip cups is actually made with opal medias.
Oh, open me, please.
Opal me, please. Yes.
Yay! That's
And
awesome.
it was like an evil queen cup, and so it has the mirror, and the glitter was so sparkly that I was like, this is the only thing that could actually look like a mirror.
Uh-huh.
And I did it, and I kept it. Like
I love that.
yeah, I remember that one so much. That one I did a few, because you guys have another one like that one, but the cut is smaller.
Karen? Or Ferris Bueller?
Aristopel?
Fairest opal of them all. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I did that one too.
Perfect color too for a magic mirror for that for that movie.
Yeah, it just because it looks like a mirror. Like it really looks like a mirror. And I remember, it's weird, but well, I'm Mexican American, so I have family here in the U.S. and then I have family in Mexico and friends in Mexico. And a lot of my friends over there, they were like so impressed. They're like, what did you use that it looks like a mirror? And I was like, it's glitter. And
Yeah.
they couldn't wrap their mind around it. And I would send pictures because you can't get that in Latin America. Like it's really
Stores in Mexico, or
We close.
I think we're in. Where are we?
I'm not gonna embarrass myself and say where I think we are versus Mexico. Look at my geography skills real quick, or
Yeah.
lack thereof.
I know that we are in South America somewhere, but I don't think
Panama.
we're in Mexico.
We're in Panama.
Panama.
Mm,
So you were born here or you were born in Mexico?
I was born here in Texas. Well, okay, I say here in Texas because I live right on the state line between New Mexico and Texas.
Oh, okay.
So, like El Paso, Texas, where I was born, is like a mile away. But the state line is so jagged that my house is actually on the New Mexico side.
Oh, how much fun is that?
It's like crazy. It's crazy trying to get through the military, trying to get services because they want to send us to like Las Cruces or Santa Fe, which would be like the big cities. And I'm like, that's like really long drives. Like El Paso is just like 10 minutes away. And they're like, yeah, but that's a different state. So it's like,
But I can see it. It's right there.
exactly. It's like I crossed the street and I'm there. So, but It's kind of crazy because we have to go through the military service and the VA,
Hmm.
but it's cool. Like I really like this little part of the state, even though it's like it's Texas still, but it's so diverse, and I like that. I
You
really
got a
like it.
whole melting pot of all kinds of people, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what got you to take school in Mexico? That's where you did your psychology, what you said, right?
Yes, I did school in Mexico because that's where my dad lives. So my mom was here from the US and we grew up in California. And but my parents were divorced. My dad has always been in Mexico and he was like, I can pay college and postgraduate and all of that if you come over here. So I was like, okay,
Yeah, why
we'll do
not?
it. And I was like, and the only thing is that I learned both languages at a very young age.
Hmm.
So I, in Spanish, we speak really, really quick. And so in
Yes.
English, I feel that I kind of like trip over my words. But in Spanish, I have, like if when I read out loud, I have like dyslexia.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, but it has to do with me not having like a mother tongue because I learned them like mashed together.
That makes
Um,
sense.
but I did learn to read and write first in English, and then I had to learn how to read and write when we went back to Mexico when I was 10.
Hmm.
And so I did my university over there. It was interesting because I learned a lot about like how I learn, and it's more phonological than actually like in theory because I had to learn by hearing.
Ah, that makes sense.
It was it was interesting. Psychology was really something that if you study psychology, you kind of study yourself
Hmm.
and you're your first patient. So
Yeah. I'd
it
be
was
diagnosing myself all over the place. I tried to do it
oh
now. I'm not qualified.
so
Am I not
yeah.
qualified?
So that was interesting, but that's how I got to study up to high school here, and then I did my university over there.
I think that's so cool. You got to do both and you get to learn both languages. I'm still struggling with most Spanish. Alex said buenos dias just yesterday, though.
That's awesome. Hey, that's awesome.
I think she was watching Dora. I'm like, you don't even know most English words and you're already starting on a new language. You're just like your mom. Why
She
finish something when you could start something new?
actually, yeah, absolutely. No, but we get to learn languages up until the age of 10. We can be fluent and we can be fluent and not have an accent. So like your brain is still absorbing
Mm-hmm.
and all of the things like when you're 10 it's weird, but when you're 10 it kind of like it shuts down and your personality is set. So up until the age of 10 there's a lot of things that will change your personality because your personality, you're not born with it. It kind of comes through experience. And that's one of the things like evolving in languages, being able to understand. And you can learn by ear, which happened to me because we switched around so much.
That's cool. I didn't know that about being 10 and stuff. So now, as soon as Alex is 10, I'll be like, all right, you're set. I know who you are now. I have a good
That's
idea of where your brain functions. That's
yeah.
cool though how the human brain works. I always think that's really nutty. And then I try not to think about it too much.
No, but it's really interesting. And then it's interesting to see how through art you can like really tap your senses,
Yes.
because
You can
there's
really
colors
express
that
yourself and move all over the place.
yeah, and there's colors that we for some reason avoid because they trigger us. And then there's colors that we're just naturally drawn to. And then also through art, you know, the expression of, art is not made to be admired, but to make you feel something. And
I like
so
that.
that's why not everybody's art is for everybody. You know, I have a lot of people that say like, they'll see a cup like this and they're like, are you serious? Like, why would you make that monstrosity? And I understand that it's not for you.
Mhm.
It makes you feel that because something of you is directed into that. I have a lot of people that hate drips and they're like, I just can't do a drip. Like there's something about it that it's icky. Like I just hate it. And that's fine. You know, there's something of you that kind of gets represented there. And it's not for you, but it's still art because it made you feel something, even if you don't like it.
I feel like the Tumblr world is so interesting with the art because it's like the duality of you are essentially making a product, not complete, like it's art while being a product versus like if you were just sitting there passing time and painting a picture or something like that. That's not necessarily something that needs to go past hanging on your wall, but inherently making a Tumblr, you almost always have the intention of trying to sell it at the end of the day. Like almost always. Some of them are for yourself, of course, or for family or whatever, but essentially Tumblr's is a business.
You need to get rid of it.
And when you look at it, it gives you that extra like, okay, this actually sucks. Like this isn't worth selling. And you put that extra pressure on yourself where it's like that it bothers me a little bit with the Tumblr making because it is a duality. I say to Sarah all the time, I got into us selling craft supplies because I love art and seeing people create with it. And one of my biggest pet peeves is that so many of my customers hoard my supplies and don't use them. They literally just buy them and put them on the shelf and say like, I just don't know what to do with this. And it's like, just do something with it, anything. I don't care, but just create and just be okay with creating. And we had that discussion even with like the glitter shelf I made for TumblrCon. And I spent like 72 hours almost nonstop building this. And it still, of course, was not perfect and had tons of flaws. And at the end of the day, I stared at it and I was like, I wonder if everyone's going to pick out the flaws. And I was like, but like, this has to be enough. That's why I said to Sarah, I was like, of all the time and effort that we put into this, at what point is what your best effort enough? It has to be enough at some point. Like you have to stop putting that pressure of like, it could have been better. It could have just been better. Everything can always be better, but like there has to be just like a level of what you put into it is absolutely enough.
And you have to, you know, I feel that a lot of, and it happens in like in every aspect of a creative professional is that, you know, when you start to create, trying to impress somebody else, that's the moment that your art stops because that's not you. You know, if I see that a certain kind of Tumblr that I'm not really drawn to, but yet that's what sells because 3D doesn't sell. 3D is a niche. You know, it's not something that everybody wants. Like nobody wants to be carrying something that's like already heavy in itself.
I want to carry that around.
Not functional.
Yeah. So, I mean, but at the same time, I'm not drawn to 2D. There's certain cups that I like, but what really, really makes me feel happy is making donuts, like making pink stuff, making things that is like so over the top that I'm probably not even going to carry it because it doesn't fit in a cup holder in my car, but it makes me happy. And that's when I feel my best work, that I'm happy with it. When I started just to create, and then eventually people started wanting to buy it. And then at that moment, it just became like a chore and I stopped doing it. Yep. I'm done. I don't like this. Like I'm making things and then people would be like super nitpicky, like, oh, but I don't want the heart there. I want it like just a tiny bit lower. Can you use a different font? Can you use, and I just stopped. And then I went back when I started sculpting and I was like, I'm not selling. Like, I don't want to sell. I just like to decompress. You know, I have so many things. I have so many hats that I have to wear during the day. That at night, I just want to go into my studio and just decompress and make something. I'm not looking to sell. Like a lot of people will message me and they're like, you don't have a website. You don't, how do I buy it? Well, I don't do it for that. And now that I can teach, I really like to teach. It's
I love that.
because that way it's really what I like. And the people that are there is people like me that like that kind of aesthetic. And I don't have to cater to anybody else but myself.
Yeah.
But it is true. I see a lot of my friends that do, especially when they do customs, and that they do a lot of seasonal. And I'm like, do you really like that? Like,
Yeah.
would you use that? Would you use that all year round? And they're like, well, no, but I mean, this is what sells. Don't do it because it sells. Like, don't do it because somebody else is doing it. Do something that you really enjoy because it's your art at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And not a lot of people are doing that right now because they do feel that pressure to just be a seller, and they forget that they can just be an artist.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you lose that creative freedom, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it shows in the work.
Yeah.
I feel like every time when you're not passionate about it, and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
but so I feel like the pencil tumbler. I was talking to Daniel and Melanie about this. Is that I think the pencil tumbler is the tumbler design that has, in my eyes, evolved the most times from start to finish. Like, it started out with the way that like Sarah made them, where it was either the only option was eraser on top or eraser on bottom. That was the only
And they were
difference that you did.
yellow. And they were
And that's it. It's a yellow pencil. And then someone was like, what if I put like fabric in here? And then eventually someone's like, what if I used vinyl in here? And then now you have the dimensional sleeve, which sky's the limit with that. And now people take the stainless pens even and do like a pen wrap of the pencil on it. So the pencil's been done on staplers. The pencil's been done on
the notepad holder.
Yeah. And
pencils everywhere.
That design has been changed and altered so many different ways, but for the longest time, for like 2 years, it was yellow pencil, pink eraser, sands of time for the little thing, because we have like a pencil pack for it, because it was just like, that's what you use. And I only made that pencil pack out of demand. People said, what colors do we use to make a pencil? And I said, whatever colors you want. I sell yellow, I sell pink, and they were like, no. I gotta know which pink, which yellow. Okay.
What does Sarah use?
Yeah, and it was just like, I'm like, come on, guys. Like, so
it's weird because there's a lot of people that I feel, that's something that I can't stress enough. And it's like, if you like something, I don't know, anything, like if you like this, put your spin on it,
yes.
Change it up.
That's
It
it.
doesn't have to be the same thing. Put something that makes it special to you, and that always make a cup that you would be like, I would use the shit out of this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that will make it really, really special. And if it sells, awesome. And if it doesn't, it's something that you like. And true, like you just have to be creative and like think outside the box. Even if people don't like it. Like when I made Edna Mode, like who wants a face on a tumbler? And I was like, I don't know. I really like wigs. I'm gonna do like the whole wig on it. It's like heavy as hell. I made it for myself. And eventually that tumbler actually, I had a lot of people that wanted it. And I was like, no, I made it for me. Like, I really like this tumbler. It's like, even just to ship it is going to be so expensive. And
it's so heavy.
Super heavy, like super heavy. But somebody really liked it and it sold. I want to make one for myself. But it's like those things that really make you think outside. Not recreate, but you make something new and something that's like inside of you.
That's why I said too in my conversations with Daniel is that I love so much about the sleeves. It's challenging people to now take it to another level. Like now when they look at the flower pot, they're just like, that's not a flower pot, that's a jet engine. Or, like when they see the rectangle, it's just like, that's a school bus, that's a fire truck.
It's a pencil, a present.
Yeah, present. It's a box of donuts. It's like, it's whatever you see. And now they're challenging themselves to just be as far outside the box as possible. Like, how much farther outside the box can I get than the next guy? Because I said to Daniel, the first thing that I saw when I saw the pencil tumbler was a rocket ship. I was like, that pencil tumbler tapers And somebody else made a different sleeve into a rocket ship. And I still haven't seen anyone do the pencil, but I think the pencil has better makings of a rocket ship. I want to make it look like the rocket from Lilo and Stitch. That's what I said it looks like for me.
That would be awesome. Well, okay, somebody did make it into a rocket ship. Her name is Jalen. She's in our group because I remember her. I don't know if she tagged you guys or if she asked Melanie if she could tag you guys, because Melanie said, Jason wants to see this as a rocket ship and you're the first one to do it. Oh. And Jason's like, I don't like have him as a friend. Can you tag him? And Melanie's like, yeah, sure. I'll make sure that we do that, because Jalen was like super excited for you to see that one.
You're gonna be so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love that they're like cutting it now, like grabbing a hot knife and taking the skeleton that's in the coffin and then taking the wherewithal to make sure the skeleton glows in the dark too. I'm like, dude, the level is just going up and up and up. And these things have only existed for less than a year. Like, it's crazy.
But you know what I really enjoy is that as 3D makers, and I can tell you this from personal experience, I didn't post in any group because I knew I was going to be bashed. So I only posted on my social media, and I would post in the 3D Tumblr lounge, and that was it. Like, I would not post in any other group. And it's not because a lot of people are like, oh, you guys are snobby. No, it's because the moment we would post outside of the 3D community, we were so bashed.
I've seen it.
We would be dragged, like, who the hell would want this monstrosity? Like, nobody likes that.
I would never make that.
Clunky. Why would you even
make it then?
Like, there was so much that all of us, we would just like stick to our 3D community. And now I feel like a lot of people were intimidated by all of that negativity. And now with DD, with Dimensional Drinks existing, a lot of people have come out of their shell and they're like, this is my first 3D Tumblr.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot lately too.
Yeah, but I mean, it was bad. Like, I remember when we first started to mod the 3D Tumblr lounge, like, that's the first thing everybody would say, like, it feels safe here. And it's, because we make things that's not for everybody, and it is clunky and it is big and, it's not for everybody, but it's our art and that's okay. So, yeah.
I love that you guys started that group and that you're continuously finding your people. You know what I mean? Because I know this group gets talked about here and there all the time. And I'm assuming most of the reasons that you're saying, because I have seen those comments. And I've seen those comments recently too in other groups, like, oh, that's so heavy. Because I'm now chiming in and saying, well, that one can't be that heavy because half of that is a sleeve, and I have that sleeve, and that weighs like half an ounce. So you started out with half an ounce, and you added some clay. Like, it's not as heavy as you think it is.
And there's different types of clay. That's like the other thing, like with my faces, I always do a face like on one side, so it'll be top heavy if I use regular clay. I have to use ultralight, and that really, it's just like foam. It doesn't really weigh anything. It's different to sculpt, but it doesn't weigh. And so I feel that a lot of people need to like jump out, and try it. Having clay in your hands is something so grounding, and polymer clay is something so user friendly, because like I always tell my DAs, I'm like, just try it. And if it works out, awesome. And if you don't like it, just sleep on it. And tomorrow you can come and add to it because it doesn't dry. Yeah. And if you don't like it, you scrap it and we start all over again tomorrow. You don't have to put so much pressure on yourself, because polymer clay is still going to be, you can still use it as long as you don't bake it. So,
yeah,
perfect.
I actually still have some from the last warehouse of one of the sculpts that I was doing, because I never got a chance to bake it. And we were moving stuff, and I uncovered, because I still had it on the Tumblr I was sculpting it on, and I was like, this is still good. Yeah. Like, I was like, this is so good.
He also started sculpting in 2020, late 2020. It was the why can't I think of the sirens group
the sirens
that you stumbled on because you were sculpting, and you were doing some really cool cups back then.
Yeah, and
before
then
the move,
and then work.
Well, and then we had a baby.
Baby and work.
That's
There's
that's
I'm going.
that's when the baby came. I remember. Yeah, I remember.
I feel like so many of the negative people though that would comment about the 3D stuff are probably, this is just my opinion, but I just feel like are more so the types that are the one's the copycat artists, I guess I would say. And I feel like they saw that as a possible threat. Like, okay, this is what I have to copy next. You know, like the ones that the trend followers. So it's like, all right, here we go. Now this donut tumbler is going to be the next boom. Everyone's making donut tumblers, and I don't even know what kind of clay to buy. Like, I'm behind the 8 ball already. I think that that's like kind of extremely threatening to someone that only knows how to replicate art, which there is so many Tumblr makers that are just art replicators.
I'm an art replicator. I can replicate something really well, and I have a lot of fun doing it. And I do find ways to put my own spin on it, but I have to see something, and then I can make something either exactly or similar.
You know what's weird is that art in itself, we kind of replicate. We all do it.
Sure.
I find a lot of inspiration in graffiti art. I find a lot of inspiration in pop art. You know, these donuts, like I didn't come up with them. There's a sculptor, can't remember his name, and Antoine something. I'll post it once we in the comments. He makes these humongo like donut boxes, and they had them in the Museum of Modern Art in New York and in Miami. They're thousands of dollars. He makes candy boxes. He makes like all these kind of like treats and everything. And they're just like the donut itself is like this big. And that's where I came. That's where I saw it and I was like, oh, I want to make that.
That's my thing right now. That's my new thing. I'm a donut girl.
But yeah. And the same with like the ice cream cones. I saw them in these really huge canvases. And I was like, I probably can make that. And it would look cool like in my studio. Again, most of the things that I do, I make them for myself.
That's fun that you looked at that and said I could probably make that, but a little bit prior to that, your husband shows you a picture of a snake cup and you're like, no.
I wish, no, absolutely. Like you're out of your mind.
And now you're doing, I mean.
Yeah, now you're challenging yourself. Like, what else can I make?
But see, I feel that a lot of people were in my shoes when I said no. Okay. You know, so many Tumblr makers that they see like something that's so out of the ordinary of what you're making that they're like, absolutely not. And so instead of like trying, maybe they bash, but slowly we're going to bring them on. Slowly we're going to like make them try. And dimensional drinks is like such a great option to dip your feet into 3D.
Yeah,
yes.
Especially with sculpting with polymer clay, because like you said, like you have an infinite reset button. Like there is no, until you are completely satisfied and walk it over to the oven or whatever you're using to bake it, that like you can just keep on rinse and repeat. Like, I don't like it, start over.
Exactly. I like to do faces a lot. And
They're so hard.
I watch movies. So like when I did Maleficent, I can't teach Maleficent because I watched that movie twice. Like on that same night, I just watched it over and over and I would pause it at different angles and stuff. And then that's how I would get like the deep tissue and like the wrinkles and lines and all the expression lines. But I watched it. And so I did it and it came out. And I don't know how the hell, I was really proud, but I don't know how I did it. I can't recreate it. That's the thing. I can't recreate it. I can't teach that. With Cruella,
cast of it.
I could. I haven't done epoxy on it just because I was thinking about doing a mold, but we'll see. With Cruella, I did it, and it was so funny because I made her. I watched the movie again, like at night. I put it on like 2 times, and then I made it. It's like, I don't know, something's off. And I was like, I'm just going to sleep on it. And I left it there. And then the next day I look at it and I was like, yeah, it's a woman, but this is not her. Like it just isn't her. And I just like scrapped it all up and I started all over again. It took me a little bit longer just because her eyes are like a little bit puffier. They're not like deep eyes. They're more like they're not set eyes. Like Emma Stone has more of like protuberance to her eyes, and I had to like sculpt onto that. And but I learned, you know,
Have to
and
call Angelina Jolie and let her know that you can now sculpt her face. Not again, but you have done it.
I can do your makeup whenever you want. I got you, girl.
Yes. We'll have to find her address. You could send her the cup.
I know, right? And then be like super weirdo. She'll be like,
I don't know. I feel like a cup that impressive, you never know.
I know, it would be
Unless I
awesome.
don't have the address.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like it, and it just like really relaxes me. I like to do it. You know, sometimes the sculpt you land it, sometimes you don't. And that's okay.
I love that you have just evolved so much since that first cup. And now you kind of like found your own niche. I mean, you're teaching it. You're teaching
Yeah.
it virtually and in person now.
I'm like super excited for Gaze. Like super.
And so you the sleeve, and I will not say what the sleeve is or even give any hints, but you designed this yourself, right? This was already going to be in line for theirs, but
Yeah.
you came up with the idea.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
exciting.
It was really awesome because Melanie and Christina gave me the news before you contacted me. And they're like, "Can you get on?" And I was like, "I'm about to start teaching," because I was teaching that month. And they're like, "We just need to talk to you really quick." And I was like, "Okay." So I go on. They tell me, and they're like giddy. I'm giddy. I start crying. They start like tearing up. And then and then Melanie's like, "And you get to design your own sleeve." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "It's gonna be an exclusive for the convention and this and that." And I was like, "Oh my God, okay, I have to go because I need to teach and then I'll get back to you guys." I already
bomb on you and you had to go teach.
and by the end of that day, I already knew what I wanted.
I love
And
that.
I sat down with Melanie and Daniel, and yesterday we had a meeting about it. And so Daniel was like landing like the last details to it. And they told me that maybe by next week they already have like a prototype that they can ship me so that I can start working on it and I can get you guys product photography for it.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So yeah, I'm like,
I asked them if I could have you as a teacher first because I was kind of freaking out, a little anxiety, because in the beginning I did tell them I want you guys to teach so bad, but I can't because of the timing. And then they were already set up with a booth, and then we found you and fell in love. And I'm like, oh, but what if they're like offended? What if they're upset that I now all of a sudden we can have a 3D cup because we found you? And but they were so excited. Like I sent them this long audio and they were like, just call us, please, just call us.
they're awesome. Like it's really odd, but when I came into all of this, I was very secluded because I was on my second year of medical restriction. I didn't leave my house for 2 years because I've already had a lung collapse. I only have 40% of my lungs.
Wow.
So, and then the military had moved us from where my family is in California all the way to Virginia Beach. And so I didn't know anybody. My husband was deployed. I was by myself with the kids. I was homeschooling. Crazy. And I fell into this awesome group of ladies that were 3D makers that actually like took me in and made me a mod of their group when I felt so bad because the only thing I had done was donuts and Melanie Snake. That was it. And they just made me feel so welcome. And it's been awesome. Like that's why I was crying when they told me that you guys wanted me to teach. Cause I told Melanie, I was like, it's so weird, like to have like such support system that you guys really believe in me to represent your company and to actually teach it, and I mean, I've grown within all of you guys but it's such a like awesome group. It's really different from the 2D Tumblr makers, the 3D Tumblr makers, I feel because we're bashed on a lot, we kind of like stick together, and it's been awesome. It's really been awesome.
I love that. I just feel like I'm gonna have a really good day after you said that. Like I feel uplifted myself now that I have no, because I also have been in situations like that. I've talked to other people that have been in situations, and it's just so cool when you find your people and they saw you and they were like, her, mod her up. You need her. They vibe. They felt your vibe and they were like, this is our girl. And look at you guys now.
I know, and I'm the old lady, in the group.
You're not.
It's like I catfished all of you guys.
I'm still blown away that you're 40. There's no way you're 43, and I pray that I look as good as you at 43.
Girl, I've seen you. I've seen pictures of you since before the babies.
I want to know. So, like, you still definitely, I know that it's definitely not an age thing. You have your finger on the pulse when it comes to aesthetics and social media, because I think that your Instagram is the best looking Instagram that I've ever, like, I know that people only add some accounts for aesthetic reasons, and like yours is one of them. Like your Instagram is one of those ones that you're just like, I'd like having this on my feed. Anything that comes by just looks so great. The whole thing, if you just go to like your page, I could just scroll the whole thing and everything just vibes in itself. And
yes.
I've like had that conversation about our own Instagram accounts previously. And then now I have like yours as an example, like, why doesn't ours look like hers?
You can always tell me about
I'm like, look at this. I have a team. Why doesn't mine look like this?
We don't have a vibe.
Well, I do social media for other companies.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I do social media for other companies, and we have an advertising agency for big companies to be able to advertise inside military bases. So that's my business.
You have another business?
Yes. So
you need another episode after this.
What's happening? Get it.
That's why I, as a photographer, I got into all of this. It was, I don't know, California for photographers and all of that. It's really like such a boiling pot where you get to meet so many people and they're always looking for new ideas. I've always liked small video, like short videos. I'm always thinking, like you guys told me, do you have ideas for content? Oh my God, I have like 100 ideas. And my mind is always like on that. I have folders and folders of ideas, and not everybody is wanting to do them, It's rare that you find creators that are like really put themselves in your hands, and I can tell them like, I'll edit this and you'll look good. And they're like, but you're gonna make me wear a wig. And I'm like, yes, but
you're gonna make me wear a wig.
Just believe in me. And, I've had like a bunch of people, and I do all of that. And then I also have to do, there's a part of my business where it's more serious, where I work with doctors.
No
and, like there are no wigs here. No wigs. But I have
just
like been able to push like friends of mine that I do their social media and that they're dentists. And I'm like, let's just make this fun for moms, Like you can't always come out like wearing a white coat. Like we need you to be fun and be, people can actually like identify with you, and they're like, okay, I want her as my child's dentist. And so I've pushed her like away from like being super serious. And she's like, it's weird because this brings business. And I was like, yeah. I was like, you have to identify. Right? Yeah, exactly. Like you have to identify with your public, and you have to be fun. And so, like Lauren is awesome. Lauren, I told her,
she's wild.
We're going to do this. And she's like, okay, I'm down. I'll do it tonight. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she's
like,
wild.
And I'm going to go shopping and I'm going to get like the wildest outfit. I was like, Yes, I'm gonna wear black. So, you know,
Yes, I'm gonna wear black.
I'm wearing all black.
That sounds like
so
me and you too.
But that's why. That's why I have that aesthetic for Instagram. Also, my Instagram is when I went into high restriction that I couldn't work, that I lost all of my contracts. I was able to stay focused on product photography, on videography. That's how I kept going. And
Mhm.
so my Instagram is just for fun, and it's things that I like, and I don't have to cater to a client. So that's why my Instagram looks like that. And I do social media for other people, but then I have to like go by their branding.
Glorious.
Well, we're fans.
My
And
eyes thank you for it.
my eyes, thank you. I actually remember looking at your Instagram and I'm like, she's way too put together. She's not going to want to teach for our convention. She's like up here and we're like here.
No.
She's
like,
gonna look at our Instagram and be like, "What is this?" Like, I can't be affiliated.
We have too many ideas and we execute them all.
well, it's, you know, sometimes it's hard to land an idea. And when you're looking at your feed, it's hard when you don't really have something and you have too many minds coming in at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's the hard part. That's what I always tell my clients, like, okay, you need to tell me what you want and then just trust me that I can fix this and that I can get it into the aesthetic that you want, but just trust me. And so, you know, it's kind of that trust issue. And they have to go with my graphics. They have to go with all of that. They set the palettes and the branding for me. And then I just go in and do my own thing. And when you have too many people working one account, you can tell. That's the thing.
We have 4.
Oh yeah, but
you count Brian. But
Yeah, who
he's
knows?
like,
And Brian just randomly on like Sundays will be like, "I changed everything." You're like, "What?" Brian, I haven't talked to you in a month. What are you talking about? Like, I didn't even know you still have the password. Yeah, we run a tight ship over here.
well, me and you were a little all over the place too. Like I said, I can start all your ideas, but I'm not a finisher. I'm not like let's sit down and hash out the details. I'm like, okay, that's the idea because I got 6 other things that I want to start today too. So let's do them all. Let's just half-ass everything.
Oh.
I try not to though. I actively try not to. I'm like, I'm gonna really just focus on one thing today. Here I am doing other things. How many more things can I do? Oh, Monopoly. Time to play Monopoly now. Now I'm doing that.
That's it. There we go.
I know it
Mess.
it
We'll get it
happens.
together eventually.
It's, you know, we as artists, we hyper focus on something, and then it's like squirrel. You go.
That's literally it.
Tumblr maker or any kind of art in general, that's where you're going to find your ADHD people. You're going to find a whole hub of them, and then you're going to find their friends that they've brought in, and you can tell who has it and who doesn't.
I was saying it. I feel like I'm gonna make a shirt design that says it or something. But I was saying at TumblrCon in that tumblers are the gateway craft in the crafting community because you can do everything to a tumbler. You can paint a tumbler, you can rhinestone a tumbler, you can fabric a tumbler, you can vinyl print a tumbler, you can sculpt on a tumbler. You can do literally, like, you can scrapbook a tumbler if you want to. Like
They have.
Yeah, you can take every kind of like outside niche art and apply it to a tumbler. And that's what I feel like happens is so many people that are of the like just squirrel brain like we are, in it's like, okay, I want to get all the stuff for the rhinestones to do a rhinestone a tumbler. All right, it's not here yet. What else can I do to a tumbler? And then like rhinestones get here and you're like, wow, I already ordered the vinyl. What do you mean? I'm on vinyl now. Like, it's vinyl time.
That time has passed. We are going now in this direction.
That's it. And you didn't even open the Amazon packages of the rhinestones. Like,
And
they're
now
just sitting
Spike
there.
Duck sits forever.
Yeah, there he is.
You know what I try to stay focused when I'm not packing and moving is that I have like a desk area just for me. And then I just put like the things that I'm going to be using and the tumbler. And I can't allow myself to bring anything else into the space unless it's a class. And I did that with Melanie taught her monster, Dave. And I had to find these glass beads that are clear, and they took forever to get here from Amazon. And so I started, and then I was like, it never came. And I just like shoved it to the side. And then I come back. I also teach photography in the groups. And then it was like, oh crap, like it's like crunch time. I have to do the photography class like in 3 days. And the glass beads had been there for like over a week. And I'm like trying to scramble to make the monster so I can do the photography class. And then I fell in love with the damn glass beads. And that's when I started to do the zombie cones and all of that. And I was like, I should just do that. Like just leave that material, like if it's rhinestone, if it's the glass beads or whatever. And then I have to force myself to do something. But if you guys like polymer clay, try it out. Try doing that. Like just put it on your desk and one night say, I'm going to do something with this. And whatever comes out. And
in theory, that's so great, except for when your craft room is like a craft warehouse. So like everything is out, like kind of, but like also not out at the same time.
I
It's
have
like
4 projects out right now, sprawled across like 3 rooms.
it's like, yeah,
including a whole table.
if we just like walked from the showroom through the craft room and stuff, it's like the Glowforge is currently cutting stuff for the sub box. Sarah's, Turner's, I don't know what's happening there.
There's cups on them.
Yeah, but they're not spinning. I don't know if there's even epoxy on them.
They have no business
either.
to be spinning.
And then the craft table, something
Is epoxied to it.
yeah.
Right
then you'd walk out of the room and you'd go right outside the room and there's trash bags duct taped to the floor where Sarah has 2 pieces of furniture that she sanded 90% of them down, and they're right there.
There's 2 because I started the first one, didn't like how it was going, and I was like, I'll grab this one and do this one
When
now.
Sarah says that she starts projects, she is not joking. Like it is.
just go tumblers with you.
Yo, it is.
I will give you all the anxiety with how much I have stored, and that's just in this warehouse. We're not even talking about my home.
Yeah, and you're not even talking about my workshop, which is right the next room over, which is just after last minute finishing that glitter cabinet. So that's chaos. There's like sawdust everywhere.
No
it's,
way.
It's something. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey,
Yeah, sounds awesome.
You have to like, you'll
Sounds awesome.
We're gonna, saying this out loud really makes me understand how much of a problem I have. I gotta fix myself.
No, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Hey, with having ideas, you just focus on one day at a time. Say this today, I'm gonna do the furniture project, and just you don't have to finish it. Just do something.
Today, I'm probably going to join the DA group and pay to be in there so that I could start making.
Yeah,
I'm already planning it for when I get off here that I think that I want to join.
No, I want to join too.
That would be
That's why
awesome.
I was thinking about it too. I was like, wait, when are you guys teaching the next class?
Hey, you have to join because next week Melanie's starting the Mandrake.
That you sold me
And
on
he
that. As soon
wants
as
a
you
Mandrake.
told me that what we were doing, I'm like, what date is it? I still have time.
And we got the
You do.
supplies.
You do, and you have the supplies. So join us. Melanie's an awesome teacher, super awesome teacher, and I'm like super excited to do that one too. I'm like super.
Man.
Did you guys see that Neville autographed it?
No.
Oh, wait. Yeah, she brought it to the convention, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes.
I didn't
And
see that.
he freaked out. Like you can see because Gemma was recording him.
I'll have to show you the video.
She goes like this to him, and
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
I think like his face was like, she's gonna give me that. And she's like, no, just autograph it.
Yeah, you can't have this. Are you nuts?
I thought she did give it to him. I think that I reenacted the video wrong in my head.
That's
I'm sorry.
I mean, you gotta.
Here's
I
my
feel
card
like
if you want another.
I feel like you gotta put yourself in his shoes. Like, how many dumpster fires has been handed to him? And I'm sorry to say that, but there's definitely some things that he's been handed to sign. I'm sure that he was like, "That's nice."
That's nice. Yeah.
But this one, he was like, oh, yeah.
I'm keeping this one.
Yeah, he's like, this thing's, you get this out of a museum? You steal this off the set?
Honey stuff is straight up, it looks like replicas.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
out of control when I saw that. And then the functionality, that was the part when she like all was said and done, and then she's like, and pencils come out. I was like, and it's functional?
It is. I
This
know.
isn't just something you sit on a shelf?
Yeah, no.
When I tell you that he was searching Facebook for like a half hour looking for this cup because he wanted to show me so bad. And when I said that I found it, that was like
I'm telling
4
you,
or
it's
5 days later.
It's like when like some art pieces that I see, it just clicks. It's the extra functionality. That's when I see just like that extra thing, you know? I'm like, okay, yep. So the world has to know.
Yes.
Everyone has to see this thing.
I wish that I could remember how he explained it because when he started explaining it, I'm like, she pulled what out of a cup, huh? What?
It's like,
I don't
it's a
think you
dispenser.
saw. I don't think you saw that right, but you'll show me. I am sure you'll show me. But sure and hold it, she pulled the pencils out of a cup.
And she's so cute because she's wearing her little earmuffs and everything when she does. She's so cute. She's so cute. I love her. I love her. And
I adore it.
her stuff is like really out of this world. I have mad respect for Melanie and like the things that she comes up with. They're so out of like anything. I don't know if have you guys seen her alien Tumblr?
No,
I don't think so.
we're gonna have to spend some time on Instagram after this.
Yeah, well, we have to have Melanie and Daniel come on too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be awesome. She did like this whole resin, like if the saucer was up here and the tumbler is actually the beam. Like
Oh, I love
like
that.
it's really, really awesome. And it's not it's like epoxy, like an epoxy beam. It's like really, really awesome. Like I wouldn't have thought of anything like that.
I love
When
it.
she was explaining it to us, we're like, you're doing what?
Okay, you'll show me.
Yeah, sounds nice.
But she does do really awesome stuff.
I wish we could sit here and literally just hang out all day, but sadly we cannot.
We'll do it in August.
I know. So, where can everyone find you if they want to see all these amazing cups or even join your DA group?
They got to see that Instagram.
On Instagram. It's kind of long because I got my first account taken away. That's the thing.
Another fun fact.
Yeah, it got taken away. It was my fault for using trademark, but thinking it was like fan art and it was okay. So now you can find me on Instagram at darkartscraftopedia_official. So
Now I understand the official.
that's why. Yeah, because it got taken away. It was not mass reported or anything like that. It was my own fault. And then on TikTok, it's just Dark Arts Craftopedia. Facebook, the same, Dark Arts Craftopedia. YouTube, Dark Arts Craftopedia. And then DA, which is Dimensional Artist. And it's under the subscription on Dimensional Drinks. So
Perfect. And we'll link everything down for anyone that wants to check that stuff out. And of course, even by the time this airs, if anyone wants to see you in person and actually learn how to make this super cool sleeve that we are not going to tell them, I don't even think they'll know by the time this airs, they can still get a ticket for your class, either just your class at thegreatamericancraftexpo.com or a bundle with you and Lauren.
oh, that's really awesome. I'm super excited about that. Super, super excited about being bundled up with Lauren. And
As long as she doesn't have to wake up at 8 o'clock.
she almost went crazy when she saw that.
She did go crazy. She called me twice.
She's like, yeah,
Lauren.
hard no. She's
I
like,
love
I ain't doing it.
I went back in the room and the guys are like, so we're not moving Lauren? I'm like, do not move Lauren. She says she'll do an hour less if she ain't got to wake up, and she's the artist, so we're going with what she said.
Lauren, I love her. I love her. But
She's definitely something. I love
I said
talking
she's
to her.
wild. That's the only way I could describe her. She's wild.
I can't wait to see you in a few short weeks. And of course, we will be in contact probably even later today. Who knows? You'll see me pop up in your DA group.
and oh, by the way, I wanted to say thank you I got the UV resin. I got
yes.
I got everything. It came in the middle of moving, and it just like squirrel like left my mind. It's still in its box that you guys said. Like I saw it and then I wrapped it up and I put it in the moving box. But yes, and I'm like super super excited to use it. Thank you so so much.
Oh, you're
Of
welcome.
course.
Thank you for joining us as a teacher and joining us today on Craft Tea.
Yeah, this was definitely, I think, my favorite conversation to date. So thank you.
This was awesome. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I can't wait to meet you guys in person, give you guys a hug. I'm a hugger.
Oh, that's fine. We'll bring it on.
We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Always bring the pot to the kettle and never bring the kettle to the pot.
Now, pour the tea.